Hey guys, it's Angelo, and with the patch 7.3 content on the horizon, we're having a look at the current state of the Shadow Priest. Legion's been up and running for over a year now, and the Shadow Priest has gone through a lot of changes. Today we're discussing its current state, keeping everything in mind that the current patch, raid environment, and Mythic dungeon environment gives us. Now keep in mind that these are my personal thoughts, and your opinion on the class may very well be a bit different from mine. That being said, I will be as objective in this video as possible and will outline strengths and weaknesses of the spec accordingly. Now of course, without any further ado, let's get right into it and have a look. Now when reflecting on the current state of the spec, all in all the Shadow Priest is more than just fine in my opinion. In fact, it's actually pretty good. Let's go over the pros and cons of the spec in each different environment of PvE right off the bat. So, in a raid environment, the Shadow Priest offers very good sustained damage, a ridiculous amount of cleave damage, and the ability to switch your priority target and therefore its damage very quickly. Due to the amount of haste and crit most priests have by now with gear levels of 930 or even more, like 940, throwing around your void bolts honestly and keeping your damage and dots up on multiple targets has never been easier. Apart from that, a decent amount of mobility through talents offers you a good foundation to dodge incoming abilities still or fix your positioning at pretty much any time, literally the same as it was throughout most of Legion. Cons here would be the lack of burst damage and the ramp up time that Shadow Priests still really have. When taking all of their current tier sets and legendaries, as well as all of the artifact traits into consideration, this includes your Netherlight Crucible of course, other classes will push their damage up a lot faster than we do, which can make it challenging to catch up before we reach our execute with Twist of Fate. Even when in execute range, so anywhere from 35% and below, it will take a while until we can actually catch up with the current top competitors like Warlocks, Boomkins, Fire Mages, or Warriors. On single target fights, like the Maiden of Virtue for example, priests have a serious problem due to the lack of our cooldowns, our long ramp up, and no effective burst damage. This is about the only time where our very predictable and very calculated gameplay without a lot of RNG actually struggles. Now before starting off the Mythic Plus segment, I do want to address the biggest problems that Shadow Priests have in Mythic dungeons, or rather keystones currently in my opinion. Priests have always been notorious for being a very niche oriented DPS spec, and their current situation obviously amplifies this. Their flaws, paired with a very strict community of players when it comes to high-level Mythic keystones, don't really offer much room for Shadow Priests to be effective in a Mythic Plus environment. Not necessarily due to their individual player skill, but more because of the environment they are set into, as well as their current situation. Now, in a Mythic Plus environment though, Priests do actually struggle. I will be honest with you. The aforementioned problems, like lack of burst damage, no RNG based procs that can push your DPS, and no cooldowns result in pretty much every class being somewhat better suited for this content than you are as a priest. Don't get me wrong though, this by no means makes the priest weak in Mythic Plus. The cleave damage, as well as the sustained DPS we do are still effective on high keystone levels and are still of pretty good use. If multiple adds are up, and you can proc yourself a secret for example, you will see your damage skyrocket, and will even be able to keep up on AoE damage. Can I recommend the Priest for returning players or even newcomers currently? Yes, absolutely. Due to the speed of which you can catch up with gear and artifact power now, you will quickly gain the power and damage levels you require to compete with other classes. Definitely in Mythic Plus, but even more so in a raid environment. With a lot of haste, your tier set bonus, and good crucible traits, you will not only see your DPS rise, but you will also notice your gameplay becoming a lot more fluent, easy, and controllable. For daily WoW content, like world quests or invasions, the Priest is a lot better now than it used to be, simply due to having more stats with more gear. Mobs typically either die before you even enter Void form, or will burn down while in Void form very quickly. As for the upcoming Antorus raid, we will have to wait and see how things play out. Due to recent changes on the stats of the new tier set, it becomes clear that Blizzard doesn't want to see the Shadow Priest become too powerful with too much of their priority stats of haste and crit, and it'll take a bit more time until we can make a firm judgment on that. Most likely not until the raid and the tier set actually release. With BlizzCon coming up, we may even get to see some more insights on the class design and where they will take it in the near future. Now, as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you have enjoyed this video and are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe to stay up to date on my posted content, and leave a like if this video gave you some helpful insights on the current state of the Shadow Priest. Now, as always, have a good one my friends, enjoy your weekend, enjoy BlizzCon, and I will see you all in the next one.